I once again am having to highlight a Republican congressman calling for the slaughter of civilians. You can't make this shit up. There is a clip going around from I think Al Jazeera tweeted out. I don't know if anyone else did. I haven't seen this many places, um, so I don't think this is getting a whole lot of traction. But this guy was asked by, some libs walking around the Capitol with a microphone, asking congressmen, about, because they're concerned about the Palestinians, stuff that's been around for forever. There's always people like that, and they were saying, hey, there's kids dying in this war, and, I've seen videos of dead kids, and, I don't support my taxpayer dollars going to that. Pretty reasonable, pretty reasonable statement. I think, for someone to make, and something that I think deserves a reasonable response. But that is not what the girl got. What she got was the most insane, unhinged response that I've heard yet from any of the pro-Israel crowd. And so this guy, Andy Ogles from Tennessee, I don't know where in Tennessee he's from. Hopefully not Knoxville, because Knoxville used to have a great congressman, a guy who actually voted against the Iraq War. And so I hope Andy Ogles did not take over that seat from, what was his name? His name was Johnny or Ronnie? I can't remember. Anyway, old Andy said in response to dead kids, he said, kill them all. I'll say that right now. I just want to tell you, kill them all. It's like he was trying to be an edgy boy. I mean, I thought I was like watching a Fuentes stream or something. It was just like he popped in his head. He's like, what can I say that's going to piss this girl off the most and trigger the libs? It's like, ooh, I know. I'll say Hitler did nothing wrong. That's basically what Andy was going for there. But I think he was actually serious. She walks up to him and asks him about it and says, hey, our bombs that we're sending to Israel are resulting in a lot of civilian casualties. I've seen videos of dead kids. I don't support my tax dollars going to that. What do you have to say for that as a congressman who votes for this stuff? And he says, kill them all. I mean, I might as well end the video right here. Well, what do I even say to that? You can't. There's no reasoning with this. Say whatever you will about the Hamas guys. Of course, they're nuts. They're not nice guys. Okay. Don Corleone wasn't a nice guy either. But that doesn't mean that you carpet bomb Hell's Kitchen to try and take out the mob. And so I don't know what I'm supposed to say when the pro-Israel crowd is accused of supporting genocide, and not random, Israeli activists or something, not some guy on Twitter, not someone who left a nasty voicemail for someone. A sitting U.S. congressman from the middle of the country, the state of Tennessee, a great place. I love Tennessee. Comes right out and says, kill them all. Okay, that's a call for genocide. How do you call that anything else? He said, kill them all. In direct response to children. Maybe he's saying just kill the children. Maybe he's saying leave the adults. But then he goes on to talk about Hamas and the Palestinians. So I guess he's talking about adults too, because obviously the Hamas would refer to only adults, I would think. Although maybe not. Maybe he considers the kids to be a part of Hamas too. He said, Hamas and the Palestinians, they've been terrorizing Israel for 20 years, so it's time to pay the Pied Piper. It's like, well, some of these kids aren't 20 years old. In fact, most of the people in Gaza are under 20 years old. The vast majority of people in Gaza never had a chance to vote in their lives on anything. They make no decisions. They just get bombed. And Andy Ogles says, kill them all. I mean, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see the media go up to every member of Congress who supports, like, the next Israel aid package and play the clip of Andy Ogles and say, do you support that? Is this what you're supporting when you vote to give aid to Israel? Because this other guy who's supporting Israel says that, his goal is to kill them all, and he's also voting for yes on the same bill you are. I mean, this is very basic stuff. This is, I think that on any other issue that Republicans support, let's say let's say legal immigration, okay? Let's say that some lefty walked up to a Republican congressman from Texas or something and was saying, I've been to the border, I've seen children coming across, they're in terrible shape, and I've seen children who have been killed, at the border, and so why wouldn't you just let them in and help them? And, if a Republican congressman turned to her and said, just kill them all, you think that the media would not use that to smear anyone who wants to do anything about protecting the border and slowing down immigration? Do you think that they would not use that clip until the end of time and say everyone who who's against illegal immigration and is trying to build a wall or whatever, all of you just want to kill them all? And that was when Andy Ogles just said the quiet part out loud. Of course they would use that. Yet because he said that in defense of Israel and in support of Israel committing genocide, that's explicitly what he said. He said that he wants Israel to commit a genocide because he said he wants them to kill them all, with America's help, of course. Because God forbid we leave the Israelis to their own devices to just commit their own genocide. No, we have to participate in it too. And every American must support it, or else you're going to lose your job as a public school teacher, if you live in Florida. I like it here, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Because if you're in a public position and you vocalize opposition to Israel in general, you're going to lose your job over that. If you work in a public job, I should say. Now, is that the worst thing in the world? No. There are other states that have far worse things about them. If the worst thing about living in Florida is that I would get fired from my government job if not that I don't have a government job, by the way. I'm saying if theoretically, if I had a government job and if I said something about how I don't support Israel's latest war in Gaza or something, and that got me fired, is that the worst thing in the world? No. There are much worse things about life. In fact, what would be worse than getting fired because you're not a fan of Israel's latest war in Gaza? Actually being bombed by Israel in Gaza. That would be worse, believe it or not. If when Andy Ogles was saying kill them all, that's pretty bad. But if he was referring to me, it would be even worse. So I count my lucky stars that I don't live in Gaza, that I was not born in Gaza. Because if I was, Andy Ogles would be trying to kill me. I mean, it really is quite interesting that, within my lifetime, how much things have changed. Because there used to at least be this pretense of peace. The Republicans and the Democrats used to say their goal was to, get Israel to, agree to a two-state solution, and that, and to build a bridge, between them and the Palestinians, or blah, blah, blah. This was always the goal. Now the goal, transparently, is kill them all. It's hard to believe that someone like George H.W. Bush, for all his faults, he was not a puppet of Israel. It's not that he was not an enemy of Israel by any means. But he did not just go along with their bullshit 100%. And of course, because of that Israel took him out. And I don't think that they're the exclusive reason why he lost the 1992 election. But they were part of the reason, because they were certainly opposed to him. And to think we've gone from having a Republican Secretary of State and Republican president, with a little bit more of a nuanced and realistic view of the situation, saying, come on, Israel, you can't just play the victim forever. You got to give a little. We see what you're doing here. To go from that to, in 30 years, to Republicans in the House just flat out stating, kill them all, on video. He's on camera. He turned to the microphone to say it. He wanted to make sure that everyone heard him say it. It's not something he said under his breath. It's not like, he was mumbling, racial slurs or something in an elevator. He wasn't whistling Dixie, as if Dixie is an offensive song. I mean, to think the media canceled a guy posthumously because after a senator died, who was very well respected, a black woman said, hey, I was once in an elevator with him, and he was whistling Dixie, and I knew exactly what that meant. It meant I'm in danger. This 85-year-old fat guy is whistling Dixie next to me. That means that he's getting ready to string me up, and I got out of that elevator as soon as I could. And based on that story, told after he died, Jesse Helms was canceled. Oh, Jesse Helms, he's an evil racist. Robert Byrd, no, he's not. Jesse Helms, though, very bad guy, that Jesse Helms. He once whistled Dixie, supposedly, in an elevator. I mean, hell, what are they going to say about Jake Busey? He fiddled Dixie on film in Starship Troopers. He was playing that fiddle like he was Charlie Daniels. In the presence of black characters, no less. So, Dixie, very evil, very racist, saying kill them all in reference to Palestinian children, specifically to the children. That's totally on the up and up. You get in the Michigan House, a Republican representative gets expelled, basically, from the chamber. An elected official gets expelled by his own party because I don't even remember what it was. I think he tweeted some graph or whatever about population replacement. Because of that, they said, you're a vile racist. You got to we're going to push you out. Even though you were elected, even though you won an election, we're just going to ignore that and kick you out of the House, basically. But in the federal House, you can call for genocide against children. No consequences. No one will even care. It doesn't even get reported on. Even Al Jazeera downplayed what he said and said that he was referring to Hamas, when that does not seem to be the context. When you watch the video, which is linked in the article, which I will link to, this is why antiwar.com is such a great resource, because these are things you would never hear about. I just never hear about them until, I look at a bunch of different news sources every day. I usually end up pulling from antiwar.com because they're the ones who pick this stuff up. Nobody else cares. So anyway, I could go on about this for an hour. But I think you get the point. I think I got the point across the first 2 minutes, which is rare for me. But there's no hiding the ball here. Kill them all. That's what Andy Ogles says. And I think that's not an unpopular. The fact that statement did not go off like a bomb in the American media and American politics, to me, indicates it's not an unpopular position. There might be a lot of people who don't say it that directly, but when they hear it, it doesn't make them wince. It doesn't make them flinch. They don't go, "Ooh, we don't want to say that out loud." It just goes right on by, and they go about their day. So with that said, I will see you folks back here in the next one.